Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Academy Talk Radio Show. This is Ask the Medium. I'm your host, Reverend Rivera, Psychic Medium, coming to you from the Ivy Psychic Academy, here with my beautiful co-host, Theresa Matuszak. How are you, Theresa?
I'm good. I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. A little tired. We went out to Margin Manor Winery today and put on a psychic fair, and it was fantastic, but a little tired.
A little bit.
Yeah. Gorgeous day, though.
But yeah, it was beautiful, and a lot of people had come out, and everybody was busy, and it was going, and it was great. It's a great day for
cats. We're out for ghosts and cats.
I love those cats. They're going to be the death of there because it's definitely like one of those, like, oh, there's a kitty. So anyway, your loved one,
They love it. Okay, my audio is changing a little bit. Are we steady here?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Very good. We also we will be out at Margin Winery again last Sunday of next month, and then the following month we're doing this 4 months in a row called Psychic Sunday, so you can check more at Margin Winery.com, and then also Rivera.com. And we have a guest here with us tonight, Amanda Friedman. How are you, Amanda?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Amanda has been a student of the Ivy Psychic Academy for 4 years, almost. I guess it'll be 4 this summer. And she's been with us a long time. She's been a certified psychic medium for quite a while, and she's been working psychic fairs. We're pleased to introduce her as one of our new hosts. Stepping out of this position, we are bringing in Brittany Rose, psychic medium, Amanda Friedman, and Theresa Matuszak here will be taking over the show, bringing on some interesting guests, talking about great topics, taking your calls, all that stuff. So, Amanda, we're super happy to have you.
Happy to be here.
Okay, great. What we're talking about tonight is empathic ability and the victimhood that can come with that ability, making it seem more like a disability, and the way that scientific studies and medical research and basic human studies have been done with empaths to prove that they do actually attract certain energies, including certain types of people. Now, unfortunately, those people are narcissists, sociopaths, and what we refer to as being vampires, meaning like emotional vampires. We hope.
Yeah.
A good day. On a good day, congrats. That's what a lot of empaths are attracting. So I'm going to talk about tonight the different ways that you can understand as an empath energy is saying to the world, how you can own that, take responsibility for that, and start using proper boundaries. We have a lecture here about every 6 weeks. You guys can look up more information on that at Ivy League Psychic Academy. You can Skype it from all over the world for this lecture. It's called Empathic Means. Next one is going to be April 12th at 7 p.m. It's $25. It's a great deal. It will change your life. Knowing how to handle your empathic ability and understanding what it really is helps you not only with your mental health, your emotional well-being, but also a lot of physical disorders that tend to come with empathic ability, including anxiety disorders, insomnia, depression, bipolar, PTSD, ADD, not PTSD, like almost like PTSD symptoms, ADHD, fibromyalgia, and we can really go on and on about that. Okay, so get to know who you are as an empath. I don't want to get in too much about my own history with my empathic ability. I want to start getting into the topic, but I do want to just give some basic ideas. If you think you might be an empath, here's the thing. Most commonly what happens with you is that you're overly sensitive to other people around you. You seem to know what they're thinking. You seem to know what they're feeling. And if people around you are sick or depressed or liars or just negative energy, it will drain you immediately. You can have stomach aches chronically, headaches, just a lot of trouble relaxing, anxiety, aggression even. And when you find yourself in a group with more than 3 people, it can be activated, even if they're not negative people. Too much energy can be overwhelming you. So a lot of empaths have social anxiety disorder and like a low level depression because of a lot of that. You see in children a lot, in so many different situations. They cry all the time. They're triggered easily. You don't understand why. We don't like loud noises. We are light sensitive. Things like tops or floor lighting. Does this bother either?
Yeah, like absolutely. A little bit more when I was a kid. Another one is I would get overly active in everything, like very fidgety, very jumpy. Like I just want to go home. And of course, I wasn't allowed to if we were out somewhere. But
yeah, you're kind of not allowed to leave all the time.
It's totally straight. You look like a river dancer because you can't stop moving or anything. And yeah, lighting. The one thing that still gets me is loud noises. If I'm getting like the cans together, recycling cans, and one hits the floor, it's like nails through chalkboard. I try not to freak. I'm like, what the, you just can't handle hearing it. It's like the ears are too sensitive. The energy
absolutely
gets interrupted.
Absolutely. A lot of trouble with the meditational, brainwave CDs, and everyone's trying to be like, oh, listen to this. You're going to get into it. And it's actually like nails down a chalkboard to us. Amanda, what have you had with this?
Pretty much the same thing as Tree. Really a lot of problems with like the loud noises, especially. I remember like as a child, I'd be terrified. Like the July when we'd go to see fireworks, I couldn't handle that at all.
Yes.
Sit there with like my hands over my ears and like shake. But yeah, definitely sensitivity and everything like that.
Well, we are taking questions throughout the show here. So your psychic questions, medium questions, if you have loved ones on the other side that you were hoping to hear from, lost objects, all that good stuff. And what's the number that they call?
646-668-2353.
Okay, or you guys can text your questions in to me here, 716-602-1391. I'll give that again, 716-602-1391. As many of those questions as we can, but you can call, on those topics personally for yourself or on this topic, which we always love. Now, first thing I really want to talk about here is the breakdown. We sort of want to break down, what this title is all about. I said this was a very dominant. This made a huge statement, and I wonder how many people looked at it and said, "What the heck?" Okay, but you can't miss some of these words, so we're bound to hit the nail on a couple heads at least. The title for this show was narcissistic, sociopathic, right, vampire people, and the empathic victim. So when we talk about narcissists in this sense, okay, how they affect empaths, you want to break that down a little bit about what we mean?
I can sure try. Basically, with vampires or like energy spirits, that they literally, it's almost like for an empath will almost suck the life out of you, like drains your energy, drains your auric field down to the point where you're drained. That's a good word for it. Very drained at the end of the day or within minutes. It really depends on your empathic level as to how you're feeling this energy. And you'll feel very drained. You can even have like cold type symptoms, like maybe you feel hot but you're not running a fever, your temperatures you just feel very drawn out, like sluggish, like you've had a really long day, hard day's worth.
Yep. You feel like you're gonna hit the floor. Yeah. So when you're around somebody like this, you may get like a burning at the neck, at the back. You might feel an instant headache, but like you have to lay down, and you just can't take one more thing. When you feel like you're around an emotional vampire, Amanda, what's your first sign?
Immediately feeling drained. A lot of times I get nauseous too. Big warning sign to stay away from that person. Sometimes even like the hairs on my arms like will stand up on end, and just all these warning signs to stay away.
And when we're talking about narcissists and sociopaths, we're talking about something quite more dangerous than your typical emotional vampire. Because the major difference here, too, is that emotional vampires don't always know that they're doing it.
Right.
It's something that they do to feed themselves and to keep their energy levels up. They just suck the life right out of you, but can go about their day. It's almost when you're talking to somebody and they go on and on and on about their lives, but they never ask how you're doing, and there's never a break in the conversation for you. They don't necessarily set out to do that on purpose, just trying to feed their energy and fill holes in themselves that need to be filled. With narcissistic personality disorder and sociopaths, we have something far more dangerous. And the core of what they're doing is manipulative behavior toward you to get you to engage with them more, some way, to take more from you than what they were able to take before. And it requires a lot of strategy. So you have a lot of mind games going on. You have emotional manipulation on top of the mental manipulation. And one of the things that you start to see when you're in the presence of a narcissist or a sociopath is that you're not able to understand anything anymore. You get very in the brain. When I'm around them, they're lying all the time. And as an empath, I shut off to that. If someone is lying, if the energy that they're trying to give me is false, it is in discord with their true energy, I stop being able to process anything that's coming out of their mouth. So I will just tune out. And they can be talking, and it's almost as though the conversation never happened at all. Do you have this?
Yeah. I started out more as gauging, because it's another thing, is you feel energy, you read energy. So, like, if a person doesn't know exactly how to feel or read the energy, like, you kind of wonder, like, how is it that you keep walking into stuff like this and attracting people like we're going to get. Basically, it's feeling the energy around you, and even if you don't know how, you can look at certain ways that a person actually makes you feel. Because it comes down to either you know energy or you don't know energy. So if you find yourself finding more similar situations to another person that was kind of toxic that you were around and everything, know this is kind of coming up.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would challenge everybody to learn how to, not just approach that person and what you can train to go, how do they look, what are they wearing, body language, all that is learned. All of that can be manipulated. What you get off of someone at the very first impression within the first 7 seconds is a real energetic vibe, and that's the truth of what they are. When I encounter someone for the first time, I get a sense, I would say within the first 4 seconds, of who they are. Sometimes even before they enter the building. You can feel people walking up to you, or before the phone rings, you can feel it. I can tell what type of energy they're giving off, whether it's going to be positive or it's going to be mostly drained, negative, or full of lies. And there you get an analysis very, very quickly on how far in you're going to let them, and never go back on what you saw in those moments and what you felt in those first few moments, because in the end, I don't care if it's 15 years later, in the end, it's proved to be true. The other thing that I have to see is the ending of the relationship or the situation. And that really only, obviously, comes with the negative people. But I can see, and it's almost like telling me, you're going to engage with this person, here's how it's going to end. And if I have to, then I have to, and I have to let it play out. But I always remember how I saw it ending. And, you guard yourself, you be prepared. Do you get this?
Actually, it happened a lot before I started taking the classes here. I would encounter people who are always manipulative. People always like creating dramas and wanting me to help them out of it. It was just like one thing after the other, constantly, until, finally I had to cut cords and let them go. And then since the empathic means class, it really teaches you, how to set up the boundaries to protect yourself and kind of block those people from even approaching you sometimes.
So before you were coming to the academy, you were having a lot of needy, right, dramatic people creating their own drama, your own karma, whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay, and then you just take classes, and why do you think it is that they're not attracted to you as much?
I just learn how to block them out and just put your foot down, say you're not going to deal with it anymore. And then, through the techniques that you teach, it really helps just push them away. Like they don't even come near you anymore.
They really don't. It really is like what you feed, right? Energy attracts energy.
I think so. It's kind of those things too, like how we end up doing what I think we call like the built-in baloney detector, BS detector. And I think it kind of like with the narcissism don't really know that doing it either, but I think what happens on their end, like if we're blocking, if we decided we're not going to deal with it anymore, they might feel energy as far as resistance, like this seems nice, but I don't know, so right. They might start to feel repelled even by us once we're bubbling or blocking and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So let's talk about that for a minute. Let's talk about empathic people, our poor souls, our poor tired, eaten up, chewed up, spit out souls, right? And all we're trying to do is heal the world. And we're, light workers and, the sensitives out there. So let's talk about empathic people and why they're attracting. Trina, you want to talk about that a little bit? Why exactly
I think it's because one major thing is with an empathic person, they're natural healers. They are born to make other people feel good. Whether it's with mediumship that, Reiki, even just somebody who smiles all the time. And they seem like just a happy-go-lucky, shiny, happy person, but you just have this wonderful energy about you, and it's you put it out to really just heal the world. And the thing is our energy doesn't realize that we can't heal the world, like we can't heal everybody. So what happens in these situations, I think, with narcissists and so forth, is that their energy is yearning for help. Their energy needs healing, where our energy is, or an empathic energy is so giving, natural attraction. And then what begins to happen after that is if the person who's narcissistic doesn't change and stays within their, I hate to say it, but they're very selfish. They stay within very selfish ways. They can come across as like a charmer. They'll wine and dine you, take you out and just seem to be like the best person in the world. But then once you get that close to them, they start to become, like you had said before, very manipulative. Mm-hmm. And empaths tend to stay with them because, again, it's that attraction where some people feel like it's love. It's really just your energy just wanting to help, wanting to fix, and we can't fix them all.
Well, and I think that the narcissistic sociopath is so drawn to the empathic person because they're so broken. They're so broken. Yeah. No real human being is going to deal with it. So they have to find this supernatural human being, right, with this crazy amount of energy, and start using that person as a source. And sadly, it's like once they've got them in their lair, they keep feeding off of that source, and so they'll say things like, "Oh, I feel alive when I'm with you. I feel whole when I'm with you. I feel like I'm myself for the first time when I'm with you. I feel loved for the first time when I'm with you." I'm like, "I bet you do," And in the meantime, you're like shriveling away, and because there can be a very genuine love or affection there, whether it's family or it's romantic, the empath wants to continue to give.
Yeah.
And we have to be realistic about what it gives the empath. The empath is someone who never gets back.
No.
It's the nurse who, smokes 3 packs of cigarettes a day because she's so stressed from giving. It's police officers, it's firefighters, it's, it's parents, it's caretakers of others. These are true empaths. Don't many people are there only to have them as a support. And when I think an empath who is so sociopaths are great at letting you know how much they love you. So they're grateful to you if they're there and they want to be with friends. Think of the techniques that narcissists use, right? And so they get in with your friends, they get in with all your social scene. They're extraordinarily charming. They study up on comedy and all the big power players, right, in society, and they know how to use that. They play up typically that they served in the military. Even if they served for less than a year, they act like they went to war. I mean, they play. And studies show, this isn't my opinion. This is a fact. Yeah. They play off of the fact they served and all of this crack, they're like, I need this. And so they go and they, and it works. And what can sadly happen is that we reach a point where we're faced with the terms of unconditional love. Mm-hmm. What really is unconditional love? And I think in our society, we just don't address it enough. And with unconditional love, we have to understand as empathic people, we are not here to waste away in giving. We are no good to anyone else if we're not taking care of ourselves. And you can love unconditionally these people, but you have to have boundary setting. Mm-hmm. And you can't enable them to continue, to do this. So we know that studies show that empathic energy calms and brings a healing to the needy person, to the damaged person. And we can see this easily with like children in classrooms and things. If you have a really hyperactive kid or an aggressive kid, if you put an empathic child next to that one, they will mellow out. It's the same with adults. We also see that empaths at the higher levels 3 and 4, with their abilities turn into electric people. Mm-hmm. What's your familiarity with this?
Where do we begin?
Electric people. I want to say almost like a powder. You ever seen the movie?
Yes,
that's pretty accurate.
Well, we can also say too, like with the electric people, they actually have this like interesting way to do almost something like telekinesis, or they have a way to manipulate energy around them. They can make a room respond with simply them just either walking into the room, walking out of the room, or, they can be very infectious, but in a good way, as long as they're using it in a good way.
We are not powerless.
No.
The movie Carrie.
Yeah.
There's a better example than powder, right?
Yeah.
The movie Carrie, on a bad day, maybe we had a little pig's blood, we had some cars blowing up, things like this. But, we have...
That was puberty.
That was just puberty. I know. That was just like having to go to gym class. That was like my every week. But it was essentially, the idea that an empathic person manipulates energy. So we never have to feel like victims in any of this. Right. We have the power, especially at the 3rd and the 4th levels, to manipulate the mind of others telepathically, telepathic suggestion. We walk into a room and we set the tone for that room. And if we're having a bad day, it's going to look like, right, explosions and meltdowns. And the technology will follow suit. So lights will flicker, batteries will drain, phones will shut down, computer systems will go haywire. Mm-hmm. All of this can be a side effect too when we're very excited as far as the technology being affected. But when we bring a positive energy to a room, we can turn and manipulate the entire thing around. So our healing goes far and wide. And we do not have to feel like victims in this. And again, this isn't our opinion. Okay, there's been tons of research on this. Mm-hmm. And it's quite impressive. Do you?
Google.
Do you drain anything?
Well, when I was here at the academy a few weeks ago, after the students did a gallery, I was looking at something for sale on the wall, and all of a sudden the light bulb right next to me blew in front of my face. And I was like, what is happening? You looked over to make sure.
That one right behind you now. I'm afraid to talk about it.
She's afraid to look.
Yeah, you got excited? What did you see?
I think Brittany's wine glasses that she has over
Oh.
there.
And the light bulb. And the light bulb just like just blew out. So yeah. Okay. So we have we have plenty of opportunities, I want to say, to also toy with our abilities as empaths, and instead of being, tired all the time and feeling like a martyr, we can start playing with the people around us. And you can do it in harmless little ways, little suggestions. You're sitting at the table, having lunch with your girlfriend, and you're like, why don't you ask for a box now, or, your tea's almost gone, or you just make little suggestions. You can also influence. This is ridiculous, but it's a good exercise when you're in traffic. I mean, how many hours do we sit in traffic a day, right? Mm-hmm. Well, you sit in traffic. Get the person at the car next to you. Look at me. Start using your energy to manipulate others in subtle ways, and figure out what you're actually capable of.
It definitely helps in those situations too, where you have a person who's very closed up and boxed up, and you want them to they want to come out of their shell, but they're like afraid to. They'd rather stay shy and timid, and spending your good energy, empathic energy around the person not only makes them feel better, and a lot of people deal with a lot of the depression issues, and they just kind of feel like they can't come out of their shells or anything like that, and just being around an empath just really just brings it out. But there's times where even myself, like, oh my God, going back many years ago, everybody in my family loved to play cards, and I'm not much of a card player. So a friend of mine's like, oh, let's play Uno. I'm like, oh, where's the cards? I can't find them. She's like, oh, they're in that drawer. And I sat there being like, no, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. No, they're not. And she comes over and she goes, I swear they were in here. I can't find them. She walked away. I lost train of thought. I cracked up laughing. So I'm like, there's no way that I could be hiding these things, right, mentally. Mm-hmm. She comes back and she goes, they're right there. Seriously? And I'm like, oh my God. So that's like one instance of energy manipulation. But if we can do simple things that way, which are fun, we could help a depressed person. We could help, stuff along those lines. Well,
and that brings me into, my next point here is that we have this ability our entire lives. Mm-hmm. And yes, it increases and it will become more obvious if you know what to look for. Most people don't know what the heck they have going on. Understand that empathic ability is at the root of their illness, their distress, their emotional state and mental, I want to say like depression and anxiety issues primarily. They don't understand that this is the root, and therapy isn't helping and the medications aren't helping, but we can track all the way back to childhood and see where this was showing up early. And the first sign of it is being a kid and being around needy people, depressed people, shy, very shy children who didn't want to come out of their shells. Also, kids who were growing up in abusive homes, or they were the outcast at school and they didn't have anybody else. Those are the people that are going to be drawn to you as a kid. You were always that one child who gave up your seat on the bus, let them, come. You try to play with them. You try to draw them out. Did you have experiences like this?
Yeah. Where I would go when I was kids from the playground, I would run up to them and be like, "Hi, man, what's your name?" I them, they they're trying but I was around kids. But again, I've been one of those people who like, I don't know, but it was always one of those things where if I looked at a person and it's almost like feel or see intent within them, and if I felt it was pretty good, then I would go ahead and move forward to that person. If I was like, I would test the waters, and if I was like, no, then it's not happening. But yeah, as a kid, as long as the energy felt good coming off of them and they were by themselves, and I'd wonder why, and I would start to feel lonely, or I would start to feel depressed with other kids, like on the playground or in class or something. Right. You'd always see that one child who wasn't playing with the blocks, and so I would go over and bring a little puppet. I seemed
to attract kids who were in abusive homes.
Yeah.
And who were extremely needy. And that turned into almost like a martyrdom type of a situation where all of my more average friends would say, why do you talk to her? Why do you deal with this? Why is she coming? why did you invite her? And I would say, I felt like I had to. I can't even express that this was not an option for me. As I got into maybe like almost 10 years older, my tween years, I started to notice a lot of possessive friends. Mm-hmm. And that became odd, where they were like, you can't have any other friends. And I was like, this is new. You know, this is getting a little dark.
Yeah.
And I would feel like, that's interesting. I was flattered, but at the same time, I was like, it kind of creeped out. You know, my stomach would get a little woozy. I'd be like, this person's, you know, bugging me out, yet they don't have anybody else, and they're in a bad situation, and I'm overly inclined, and I'd explain, I'm overly inclined to stay with them and to try to satisfy whatever it is they need. And other people would start to pull away a little bit and be like, you have a weird thing going on there. And this person was starting to latch on. That went on through my teenage years, and then as I went into, you know, more like adulthood, I would say started to attract the narcissistic, sociopathic boyfriend who would fall on, try to come and use me as a food. And that entailed a ton of manipulation. Mm-hmm. So for me, it just developed from that one thing where you were sweet and kid, you know, into the neediness, bigger and bigger. And really what I feel like I'm looking at is an evolution of that child with the people that are drawn to me and with the men that are like, you know, attracted. It's an evolution of that child through the teenage years where they get possessive, and then there they are, narcissists and manipulative. Now, what we see too with this is that it's hereditary. Okay, so empathic ability scientifically proven to be hereditary. You can look back through your family and see people who handled it well, and when they did handle ability well, they would have been healers and mentors, and everybody would have gone to them, you know, with their problems. They may have been very artistic and quite intuitive. Anything they said, the rest of the family could take. Okay, at face value, this thing was going to happen. Then you had your other family members who empaths, who let it get to them, and it was more like a disorder for them. And we would have seen with them possible drug and alcohol abuse issues, aggression issues, self-inflicted damage, depression, you know, things like this. Mm-hmm. They were still lovely people a lot of the time, or everyone was still drawn to them for some reason. And they could have been these tremendous, you know, people to talk to and maybe almost seem shy at times, but still very sensitive. So you can look back and see, too, you know, where this worked for people in your family, where it was not working. When we look at narcissists and sociopaths and your typical emotional vampire, that also seems to run in the families, does it not?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I kind of like going off of what you're saying, too, is like in my teenage years, I had a lot of friends that came from bad homes, bad family backgrounds and everything else like that. And then you go over to their house and it was the father, or in some cases the mother, it's not always the man, but, you know, would be very manipulative, very controlling. You know, what is she doing here? I didn't say you were allowed and all this other stuff. And but no, that does happen. You do. It's like either one side or another, it seems.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not like it's a good balance, but it's either one or the other.
Mm-hmm. Do you have anything to add to this?
No, I agree with the same, like the possessiveness during you know, the teenage years. It was out of control with, you know, somebody in high school, and then just kind of spiraled out of control and had to cut them off eventually. But
talk about somebody in high school. Yeah, we were talking about my kids, you know, my kids are almost 18, 13, and 10, and they call them the plastic girls. You know, or plastic people. Yeah, and it's like Heathers, and it's like these manipulative. I mean, that is the beginning of the narcissistic sociopath in its prime, you know, moving into its prime right there. Just, manipulating everybody and really using you as a pawn in a lot of that, for sure.
Mm-hmm. A lot of them don't realize, too, like especially at a younger age, is they don't look at it like, well, she's mean or she's a bully. Well, what is she dealing with at home? You know,
exactly.
A lot of the time, these kids, you know, they are dealing with stuff at, you know, back at home and everything, and then they come to school, and instead of really just kind of like letting it out in a good manner, whether it's through art class or gym class or their academics or whatever it might be, they become, like you said, the plastics. They become like the Heathers. They start to manipulate other people. I don't like your shoes. Your hair is ugly. Oh my God. You know,
God,
like all of
that.
that.
With hundreds of them. It's just another reason for an empath never to go to school, right?
Yeah.
And do we have a call coming in? Okay, so we're going to take a call, and then we're going to get back into this topic. I like where we are on this right now. Okay. Hello, caller, are you there?
Hi there. How are you?
Hi,
this is Jane.
Jane, what's your question, Jane?
Well, I like your topic this evening because it really resonates with me. I'm an empath, and I sit near a male at work who is very much a narcissistic sociopath and also an energy vampire. He created a lot of problems for me at work for like more than a year and a half and tried everything to ruin my reputation. And I work in a very large office, and I don't even speak to this person. And somehow he seems to have the wrong impression of me. Like I feel he's always watching and observing me. And my energy is completely drained whenever I come home from work. Like, what a difference it makes when he's not in the office and when he has the day off. Now, do you see him continuing to create problems for me?
You know, it's funny you say that because one of the next things I wanted to get onto was narcissists and sociopaths as stalkers. This is still so commonly overlooked, and the stalker laws really have not been updated sufficiently in a very, very long time, and it's an unfortunate situation. What they do is they latch on, and they do almost start really stalking you or full-blown stalking you, and no one would necessarily believe it. It can be very, very discreet, but they don't want to let you out of their sight once you have become a food source for them. And what he's really doing, what I'm feeling from him is that he's it feels very creepy. I think there could be some, romantic also draw to you, but I'm also feeling like he's just really very satisfied watching your body language and watching your attempts to, I want to say, avoid him. The more uncomfortable you get, he's watching every little subtle thing. And these people are so in tuned. I mean, they really are like the match for the empath. Like, we have met our match with the sociopaths because they read energy so, profoundly, right? They're geniuses at it, really. So what you're going to need to do is really train yourself. Again, I would recommend the Empathic Means lecture, April 12th, even Skype in if you have to. But what you need to start doing is learning about energy manipulation yourself. And you need to turn it around against him. One of the things you can do is like a blocking, it's a blocking technique where you're essentially binding him from sending any more negativity your way. You can also just put, we're going to talk about this a little bit later, so, keep listening, listeners here, but you could put a brick wall around you. You could put mirrors around you where you're visualizing that you have mirrors around you so that any negativity he sends at you is bouncing back onto him. You have to set it up so that he has contact to his actions. And sometimes we say like, we're going to let go and let God, or we're going to let karma take care of it. But, that isn't always the best solution, especially when you're an empath. You were given the tools already by God, by the universe, to fight back. And it's really about these boundaries. Do you guys have anything to add to this?
I was kind of getting more too, like with his energy also, that if there is an attraction that's there, it's kind of more like he's not understanding this, especially if he's with somebody, married, girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever the case is. And basically that he's almost intrigued by this, but in some ways it depending upon the amount of good energy that is coming off of you, he could be repelled by that as well. So it's him really just trying to figure that out. And in that sense of trying to figure that out, he's not realizing, or maybe he is, of what negativity is coming off of him. So because you're very sensitive, if you tend to look at him, he might think you're giving him a dirty look when you may not be, like trying to figuring your energy out. What's that?
I don't even look at him. If he goes to my quad, like he sits right in front, like almost in front of me, so he can hear everything. Like if I'm on the phone with a client, he hears everything. Or if I'm speaking to a colleague of mine, he can hear everything. And
I'm going to tell you straight out, he loves that you don't look at him. He loves that you can't look him in the eye. I would start messing with it hardcore. I would start every day when I come into, I bring him flowers, bring him a coffee, give him a donut, look him right in the eyes. You let him know, that you are there, and I'm looking you right in the eyes. And that really is the first step. Like when I said earlier, he's watching your body language. He loves that you're pulling in and that you're like kind of slinking away. Oh, yeah. So he's feeding off of that. You have to reverse everything that you've been doing with this person. Amanda, do you have anything to add?
No, I'm getting pretty much the same exact things as you, just really strong need for protection, and you just kind of watch your back in this situation.
Oh, yeah.
I would say once you do things to, like, the binding, or you can say, anything that this person sends my way to be reflected back to him tenfold. I mean, anything that you do like that, he's going to learn real quick. It's like when you touch a hot pot of water, you touch the fire, you're like, that burns. He's going to understand that the universe, that negative energy is starting to come back onto him real quick. Okay, and he will connect the dots and start pulling away from you. And I feel him trying to almost do it in a humorous way, almost like laughing it off or trying to make jokes with you or trying to converse, trying to get you to engage, like he's going to try to figure it out. He's going to try to figure out what exactly you're doing that's different. And you just smile away and make eye contact and keep your wall up around you. But, yeah, I see you being able to turn this around, and he'll be rendered powerless.
Well, he spends a lot of time after work. He used to, but now he doesn't spend as much time. And also he does a lot of overtime. And last summer he even bought a condo right across the street from our office building. And he would come into work on his day off and when he was on vacation. And I don't know, do you see him? He spends a lot of time with a manager at work. Is he dating? Because he's kind of toned it down a bit, but he still observes. I can still feel that he's watching and observing me still.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't see it really. I don't really see it stopping anytime soon. I think until you've really mastered this, I really don't see it stopping. And I could see it dragging out for a while, even after that. Once you do it, I'm going to say within 3 weeks, it should improve. But right now, I still feel that energy coming at you and observing you. Is that what you guys are feeling?
Kind of. He's also kind of feeling like he's either trying to, take on more of a
normal person.
Well, normal, but almost like a boss role, trying to almost be the boss of people when he's not in that position to be the boss of people. And
he's a team. Yeah, he's a team lead, but even before, he's a team lead. He used to be before the team lead. He would act like he's he's a supervisor or someone walking around the office like he's somebody.
That's what they do.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm the boss.
Control. It's the control part of being that. So with you having the good positive energy, he wants nothing more, or his energy being narcissistic and so forth wants nothing more to control your energy or that of the other people around.
Well, you have to understand too, narcissists believe that they own everything. Mm-hmm. They invented a chair. They invented Reiki. They invented the whole business. They are president of America. They are president of your body and your mind. I mean, I own that computer and your desk, and that's my pen. And that's how they think. They think they started everything and they own everything. They have a right to control everything. You are never going to give in to that, so you've become a bit of his obsession.
Yeah, he does a lot of smoothing. He does a lot of smoothing. He invites even supervisors, managers at his place for drinks. They go out for drinks after work. And the way, and I think, he's brown nose. And I think, do you see him dating this manager at work? Because he kind of toned it down, and after work, and he doesn't hang around as much after work anymore, especially when this manager is working.
I think his time clock might be ticking. I think this is the thing about these people is eventually the light always shines, and they step on the wrong toes, because when they can't control and it blows up in their face, they go crazy, they get hostile, they get violent, they do things come out into the light, and it's going to happen. But you still need to do what you need to do. You need to learn how to do this once and for all. So he's not just going to disappear anytime soon, but learn these techniques. Try to take the Empathic Means lecture. It would be great for you. And just keep going full steam ahead, okay? And reflect his energy back onto him and look him dead in the eye. It's the best thing that you can start doing. He won't know what hit him. Okay. Thank you so much for your call. Interesting
thank
topic.
you so much.
Okay. Stay in touch. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Yeah, I want to say that this is a huge thing, is that they really do, okay, not only believe that they should be in control of everything, because ownership of everything, they also will create situations, and this is very disturbing, but I was in several romantic partnerships that lasted fairly significant periods of time, where all of a sudden my stuff would start to go missing. And like somebody would like misplace my jewelry that was from my deceased aunt, or something from my grandmother, or my glasses. Like my glasses, I need my glasses. And then, I would be like, oh my God, where is this item? And research, this is actually a very common technique that narcissists and sociopaths use. They hide your stuff, or they will, damage your vehicle, or they will do anything that they have to do to be a hero to you. And then they come up with their cape on, and they're like, ta-da, I found your glasses, I fixed your tire. And it's like, you put the hole in my tire. And no rational person in a million years would think that this is what somebody's doing. But when they start to feel like they're slipping, when you're about to get away, when they're starting to lose you and they need more control, your stuff is going to go missing and your items are going to go damaged, and they're going to swoop in to heroically bring you to safety and what you need, and provide you with what you need. So that's also common to see. And I'm wondering with the caller, at work, creating situations and then making them better in some way.
I kind of wonder, like she was asking about like a relationship at work. I don't necessarily see him really dating or being with somebody at work.
Anyone would want to.
I don't think so either, but I'm actually getting really like he's trying. Like,
yeah, he's trying.
He's trying really hard to schmooze over, anybody he can.
Yeah, and she's not going to have it.
And exactly, because like I said, her energy is just, she's got a very good energy about her. It almost is repelling him. So he's just like almost going to narrow in on her a little bit more to break her down. And that's one thing that they will do, that they will try to break you down. If they can't like wine and dine you and charm you and everything else, then they will take the route of breaking you down.
They will also use the people around you.
Yeah.
So studies show, again, research shows that what they do is they take the closest people around you, right? Mm-hmm. So they'll start to tell them secrets. Mm-hmm. Don't tell that I told you this, but they'll start building up a private relationship. And, it's shocking, because if you're dating a narcissist, a sociopath, you don't know that they're messaging your friends, they're calling your friends, they're texting your friends, they're telling your friends, don't tell Ivy this. That's creepy. The day you find out that that's been going on, and it can seem innocent, but it isn't. And I think this is what the caller is talking about, where she's like, you see how she's overly fascinated with this person that he's trying to date. That's what he's trying to do. It's almost like he's trying to dance.
Yeah.
Put on a little show in front of her, but it's still directed back at her.
Yeah.
Even though it's with another employee, it's still the focus is on her, to see her reaction, to get at her somehow. And he's being a fool, because this other girl is not going to be so quiet.
No.
So this is going to blow up and be very.
And if he's attracted to her, this is the wrong route to go down.
Definitely not it. Yeah.
No.
But they don't know how to be sincere. Okay.
No,
so it gets very, very out of control. And you really, if you suspect that you're with, one of these people, or you have family members, or you have friends that have these disorders, let's call them, and that maybe they're not being truthful, you really do need to do your research. You need to dig a little deeper, and it's not hard to catch them. They're really not always the brightest bulbs in the box, And when you see something, don't buy the apologies after. You keep those boundaries set, you keep those boundaries up, and you move forward. I want to talk a little bit about narcissistic parents. Mm-hmm. Okay, have you guys ever met someone who almost seemed like they were narcissistic personality disorder or sociopathic, but really it almost doesn't seem to be the case, but their parents certainly were. Have you ever seen this?
Mm-hmm. Well, it's kind of like similar to what we were talking about before with the plastics and stuff. It can work out that way, like a bully being, like crossed as like a bully. I mean, it doesn't have to be a school kid. It could be somebody in adulthood as well. But
right.
if they were dealing with a parent, at least one parent who had these tendencies, people generally do one or the other. They either repel away and they swear never to be like this person, or they're exactly like this
Easier
person.
said than done.
And they don't realize it until they get to a certain point. And yeah, I have seen it a couple of times, and it's like, oh, Lord. But then again, my tolerance has built up so much since I was a kid to where I'm just like, no. Nice to meet you. No, moving on.
Well, that's good. That's almost anti-tolerant, or that's wisely tolerant. I want to say. But a lot of empaths also have such a high tolerance to inappropriate behavior from being exposed. Us sensitives, right? We've been exposed to these odd situations and the toxicity for so long that we're almost immune. We put up with far, far more than we should. Have you been exposed to someone whose parents actually put this behavior in them?
Yeah, actually parent and child. So she definitely got it from her mother. But again, going back to high school, that seems to be like the big.
It's the trigger.
It's the stage. Yeah. Crazy time in life. But yeah, like she would say, oh, I'm never going to be like my mother, blah, blah, blah. But then she would turn around and be exactly the same way. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like learned behavior. But again, she's that way herself. So like born into it, but also learned.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell where those people are going to end up and what they need to do about it. And it's so difficult, I think, to retrain, positive, like behavioral modification into more positive behaviors socially, that it would take years of investment. And I tell my clients who are deeply, madly in love with one of these people, I say you have to protect yourself. If you continue to enable them, they will never learn any better anyways. You're just going to get drained and they're still going to deteriorate. So if you truly love them, let them go. Let them fall on their faces. Let them go get the help and the treatment. But ultimately, it's going to be self-work. It's just going to be them in a quiet room with themselves, looking at themselves, looking back at a great motivator is, what have I lost? Narcissists and sociopaths take great hits and losses. So do vampires. And they're like, I don't understand. Why? Because you're a vampire. Because you're draining the universe around, why do you have these losses and these hits? They need to stop and fix them and get these people. They need to look inside and figure out what went wrong and what they could do to correct that. And that takes a ton of hard work.
Yeah, and the person too, the person who is having these narcissistic and so forth, they have to want to fix themselves. They have to want to take care of themselves. So
more than
they want to manipulate, exactly, because they have to get fed up with it themselves and not just keep doing it.
But it is a whole new way of life.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, absolutely, and that's what's hard, because you have some empaths who cry about it. And they just have this yearning to help.
And there's always another one.
And they just keep coming to you because help. People like myself who want to do that helping, but then I've learned, no. I know where to put my energy.
Also, what I meant by there's always another one, narcissists go to the highest bidder.
Well,
one of the first things you're going to see if you are dealing with one of these people is that when you will not serve, when you go to set up those boundaries, when you decide that you've had enough and you're going to put your foot down, they go to the next person, the highest bidder that's in line. And they've always got another one lined up. They're not always. So they go to that person, and if that person eventually will not feed them, they'll go to the next one. And they've done the same manipulative techniques there. And it creates a ton of guilt, depression, sadness, loneliness, and isolation for the victim. And, you really have to look at people and say, look, who knows where you could end up with years of self-work. Okay, good for you. I love you. I'm going to let you go on that. And I have to protect myself because I certainly can't give it. and watch and see if they just go run over and start feeding off of others, or if they actually take the time to quiet themselves and to work on it. But either way, you have to guard yourself. It's very dangerous. We talk about, the big word here tonight was drain.
Yeah.
Right. We talk about these drains, and we talk about it like, oh, isn't that exhausting? But let's be realistic about what being constantly drained will do to your physical health. What side effects, emotionally, mentally, physically, do we see from this?
You get, well, other than depression and everything, you do get physically ill. Like your
immune system.
Your immune system. You're sick all the time. Like you have, let's say, a sinus infection that just won't go. No matter how much antibiotics and you think you're clear, within a couple weeks or months or whatever, you're absolutely back up again.
I used to be overwhelmed by migraines just from all the negative energy coming at me all the time. And, I learned how to block it out. But again, going to the doctors, no physical reason for it, no explanation, all your scans are clear. And then once I cut those people out of my life, that's really when they stopped.
I want to say a lot of phantom pain, almost people think they have like fibromyalgia or something like this, and it's really from the toxic energy in their home, from the narcissist or the sociopath that they're with or dealing with. Also insomnia. What is really happening here when you're dealing with one of these people? They're manipulating your energy. So at night, it becomes a huge issue that they're manipulating your energy. You may have an inability to relax or sleep. When you mentioned the sinuses tree, that's the one too, because the closed throat chakra, we call it here at the Academy, when you are always speaking out to someone, but your words are never being received, closed throat chakra. You will literally lose your voice. You will get sinus problems. You'll have all kinds of trouble in your neck and throat. You need to protect yourself by setting up. You can visualize a wall around you before you go and come into contact with this person. You can pull away if you think you have one of these people in your life. Pull away. Just read it. Don't talk with them. Don't deal with them, and see how much better you physically, emotionally, mentally feel. You can also put mirrors of reflection around you, send it back. What's it called? We have like 2 minutes, I think. Black tourmaline. Is that something that you can wear, a crystal?
Tourmaline. There's also obsidian, patchy tear, jet onyx, black onyx rather, different forms. But yeah, black tourmaline is probably the number one that you can wear. You just want to be careful if you have other people who are empathic around you, because whatever's being reflected, whatever they're sending out, it tends to act like a guard on your bubble, and it'll reflect it. I call it the I'm rubber, you're glue defense with the black tourmaline. So just, be aware, but that one protects you on all planes.
Study up on manifestation. Study up on law of attraction. Understand your power as an empath. Know your power and your place. Start playing these little games that we were talking about to start manipulating other people in a positive way, and then you're going to use this to protect yourselves. Okay, again, take the Empathic Means lecture, please. Is there anything else you wanted to add to that? Okay, take the Empathic Means lecture, April 12th. You can find more on that at ivyleaguepsychicacademy.com. You can Skype in. I will be at Margin Manor Winery next Sunday, 1 p.m., doing a Victorian tea and gallery show, giving readings, and you can get private readings. After that, we will be out at Margin Manor the last Sunday of the next 2 months, putting on a psychic fair. We have Silo City Psychic Fair. We are looking for vendors right now, September 23rd. So you can find me at Ivy Rivera on Facebook or IvyRiveraPsychicMedium.com to book or to apply. And where can they find you?
On Facebook, I'm Theresa Matuszak, Psychic Medium.
And where can they find you?
Amanda Friedman, Psychic Medium on Facebook.
Excellent. Okay, thank you for tuning in. Keep listening to the show, and we look forward to having our new host. And I will see you guys when I see you guys. Take care of each other.
Have a good night. Bye.